Today might be trash, I can't lie. My condition is probably just this low here and then longs after, but we took out buy side, so there's no real reason for me to be looking long. Maybe once we inverse this daily BPR here, we can start to look for longs on the higher time frame, but I don't know if you guys were there at AM stream, but you guys are always asking me about options plays, and I said that, when we inverse this 15-minute here, this is technically, a good options play to take. We had these highs here that we know we're going to get smoked, so this is that example. Four-hour imbalance still above. Yeah, we do. We got that. I wouldn't really use this as a draw on liquidity, though, because I think the daily SIBI is more important, but for sure. We took out those highs. So, yeah, it really is just that gap there. I don't know. I really don't think that we're going to get anything. We'll see. Did anybody like chase long here? I ended up chasing here because I figured this 1 minute was going to get inverse regardless, and then I went break even at the high there, and I held till here and sold, and I was not expecting price to just take off like that. But yeah, I mean, this was really easy, right? So this is, day 4 now of bias, momentum, time. If we don't get a reversal at 10 a.m., what does that tell us about price? Okay, price isn't aligned with time. So if our delivery is still bearish, that means that we don't have a bullish bias, because you can't have a bullish bias if we're currently delivering bearish in the lower time frame. And so when does bias switch? Right? When we stop delivering from bearish lower time frame gaps. Here, we had that 3-minute inverse, but we still respected this 1-minute gap here. We continue to respect this gap, whatever it was, that 5-minute. And then ultimately, when we inverse this 1 minute, that's when we start to see, price fly, right? So if you just base all of your trade ideas on this, there's no way you lose in this price action. Like, for example, this morning, this 1 minute, failed here or whatever it was, right? Price didn't align with time here, right? We weren't reversing at 10 o'clock like we normally should. The momentum was kind of sloppy on the reversal. The break even sucked, and we had more potential sell side below. So it's just like a questionable trade to take overall, right? These relative equal lows. So right here, bias doesn't really align, time doesn't really align, momentum doesn't really align. So this is an easily avoidable loss. This one I actually didn't think was horrible, right? There's a few 30-second longs that happened here. And as long as you took both, you probably walked away from these trades profitable, right? The same idea here. But yeah, here we still have sell side below, so it's kind of why those failed, right? So key to wait for that, Judas swing, right? And then, get the long after. And if we don't get the long, then, well, you wait till 11, and then 11 o'clock is usually where we get our reversals, which is what happened today because of the news or whatever. Think we'll tap the weekly wick by the end of this week? Yeah, maybe, for sure. If we inverse the daily BPR today, I don't see why not. But right now, I think it makes sense to potentially be bearish because we swept out buy side, but I really don't want to do anything here. Because what would our draw on liquidity be to be bearish? I guess the daily, or I mean the 1 hour VISTA here. So maybe that's what we're going for right now. Did we really have an entry? No, the 1 minute there went invalid, so no entry for us here. But yeah, now we've hit that one. Oh no, we haven't hit it yet. We're about to hit it. I'll leave that marked. We could maybe look for 50% retracements and then longs from there. Maybe that's what we'll do today. Seb, honestly, that's slow for MFFU. Normally, it takes me like less than 10 minutes. Yeah, I heard about that. Do we know who the new pope is? Leon the 24th? Or the 14th? What am I saying? The 24th? Um, yeah, I saw Bitcoin hit 100K. How many of you got your first payout recently from MFFU? Just out of curiosity, like if you've never gotten a payout before, how many of you got your first payout with MFFU? Like in the last 2 months since I like started like really talking about them. Okay. You went short on the 1243 candle when we inversed it, went direct to my stop loss, and then dumped. Yeah, so you're just trading during lunch, Marwin, right? Remember the components, bias, momentum, time. So that's tough, but it's like lunch price action. Oh, I guess yeah, I see what you mean. You shorted the 1243. Okay. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, so we had a 3 minute inception gap here. So this was technically a win, right? You got to check the other time frames here. The reason why we came back there and why it caused the play to fail is because we needed to come back and fill in this inefficiency here, this 3 minute BPR. I think MFFU is better than Apex. Like when you're first starting out and just overall, like as far as customer service goes and payout experience and that kind of thing. 1 minute here off the hourly FEG. Yeah, I mean, if we V shape up here, like we have these 1 minute gaps that could be inversed. But I think longing here doesn't really make sense because our drawn liquidity, I guess, is this unfilled 4 hour, but we could reject that at the daily BPR at any time. So it's kind of risky to like target that as a drawn liquidity when we're this high up. You're like longing like way, way, way in premium, right? But yeah, we don't need to see this low get hit since we tapped in that hourly gap. Is there a lifetime option for MFFU or is it monthly only? There's no funding fee, so it's just monthly recurring until you pass the eval. What do I need to know to trade the options the way you and Dodgy do? Never tried options. Honestly, I would try trading on a paper account before you trade options, just so you can get an understanding of how time impacts um, the contracts. Because like with futures, we just have to worry about up or down and commissions. With options, you have to worry about the time component too. So get familiar with like the Greeks, I would say, and understand how those influence the contracts, and then make sure that like when you're entering, like what I specifically look for when I'm like looking to take intraday plays is I'll take like 0 day till expiry options if I had conviction in a draw being hit and there's just no good entry on like futures. But like for that, you just have to make sure that the IV on those contracts isn't too high. And usually that'll occur when we have like news or something that we're anticipating. So I don't really like taking on contracts on days like that because the premiums are really expensive. Um, and yeah, it's just like a lot of risk on the table. Um, you can use whatever brokerage you want. A lot of people use Webull. Um, I use Thinkorswim, but it's up to you. Where are you looking to long? I don't really want a long here because we took out buy side. Should I have included the inception gap, or would that be a loss anyway since we closed above it on the 1 minute? I would have included the 3 minute inception gap here since it's kind of obvious. Right? This is the same swing here, right? That inverses this gap on the 3 minute time frame. So it's technically an inception gap. What would the 3 minute long setup be rated after tapping into the hourly BISI? Or not take a trade because we are bearish? Yeah, so let's think, okay? So bias, momentum, time, model, right? Bias, what's our bias right now? Okay, we're obviously long bias. We're respecting higher time frame bullish gaps. We're kind of disrespecting lower time frame bullish gaps, right? So we're kind of delivering bearish on the lower time frame and delivering bullish on the higher time frame. So if we were to inverse this 3 minutes to the upside or the 1 minute or whatever here, that would be disrespecting bearish on the lower time frame and respecting bullish. So that would give us our bias that we need, okay? The other component to bias is obviously drawing liquidity here. So let's figure out what we could use. We have these equal highs up here on the 1 minute and we have the 4 hour. Okay, so unfilled higher time frame liquidity, that's like third best. So, okay. Bias, decent. Now let's think. Momentum, okay, we need like good momentum. Maybe we get it at the 1:50 to 2 o'clock time frame, okay? In the macro. That aligns with time. Model, okay, let's think model. We're super deep in premium of the range. We have a couple decent targets around 50%. You know, we have this unfilled 15-minute down here. And currently we are kind of falling and creating what looks to be like a sell side of the curve. And overall momentum here isn't great. We don't have a singular gap. So model kind of sucks. So probably not going to take this unless we have good momentum during the macro. That's kind of my thought about this long right here. And even then, I probably wouldn't even take this on an account I care about because of how, first of all, how high in premium we are. And second of all, the target that we have. You're just targeting a high after buy side's been swept. So it's like kind of a questionable draw on liquidity. And we do have a... Do we have a bullish SMT? I don't really see one. Yeah, I don't see a bullish SMT here, so maybe from like the very low or something, but up here, which is where it would matter, there's not any. If we were to inverse this gap now before the macro, I wouldn't take it. Even on an eval. So does that make sense how like my thought process kind of walks through there to check to see if this is like a good entry or not? How do you know if an SMT is valid? Usually the best SMTs are the ones that sit at the extremity of the range. The equal highs above aren't that significant. They're like the sixth best liquidity because they're like equal highs that are like side by side basically. If you look at the 2 minute or 3 minute time frame, they're not really that significant. But yeah, this week has just been bias momentum time model. I kind of want to hammer into some older stuff that we've talked about. Can anybody like remind me of like stuff in the past that I've discussed, whether that was like I guess the analogies I used to make as far as like psychology goes or anything else that you think might be important to be rediscussed? You show somewhere in your chart any market maker buy or sell curve? Yeah, sure. Here's sell model, here's buy model here. Lower time frame, here's a buy and sell model. Here's a buy model side of the curve, here's a sell model side of the curve. This is actually the best one, to be honest, because we have price stair stepping up here, okay, which is very typical of buy models, and then the sell model we're elevatoring down, right? So buy, sell. Here's another good one here. Sell side of the curve, buy side of the curve, right? Buy side of the curve, gets put in when we take out liquidity. After how many losses do you step away, or do you have a rule on that? Yeah, usually, if it's if it's one good loss and price action's really bad, I'll just be done after one. But max two, yeah, per session. Like if I take two losses in the morning, I might come back for PM or vice versa. Well, I guess it'll be a new day, so never mind. But yeah, you only really need to set like a loss limit if you have an issue with like revenge trading. Same for like setting like a maximum. Well, actually, the maximum wins thing is good because it allows you to find an opportunity to get off the charts. One minute short. Yeah, it's invalid. So I'm kind of anticipating price to just fall here until we get to like 50%, maybe. Did you take the 1 minute from the low? Banger. I didn't take the 1 minute. What I did is I just like jumped in when I figured price would inverse this after all these momentum candles, which was definitely riskier, but I only took it like on eval since honestly I don't really like trading after 11. So this was a no trade day for me unfunded. But I jumped in long here on eval just to chase, and I sold all here. And then it ran for like an extra 100 points that I probably could have passed my eval on the move, but oh well. For sure, DZ. If you're revenge trading a lot, I probably wouldn't have a personal account. That sounds like too much risk to have on the table for somebody that revenge trades. You should probably get to a point where you're comfortable with your trading psychology before you're putting your own money on the table. Yeah, so now we're too close to these lows where if I was going to take a long, I'd have to wait for these to be swept. We do have a 30-second gap here. It's obvious. Singular. If we get like a good soup reaction to this low, it'd probably be good for a break-even trade at least. SMT with YM? Oh boy. Guys, do I tell him? Are you going to trade funded this PM? Maybe if we get a good long setup after hitting 50% and we create like a good draw in liquidity, but probably not. We don't have an SMT with ES here, so there's the like I'm guessing this 30-second long setup's going to trigger. I'm not taking this one. If it wins, it wins. I don't really care. What's going on, Wancho? When you say break-even trade, are you talking about moving your stop to break-even quickly after entry? I think so. When I say break-even trade, I mean like I think that this trade will hit the break-even target at least if we got like a super reaction off the low. With eventually potentially going higher, right? Yeah, that's fine, Space Luke. Come back after that gets hit. That's probably smart. I just don't want to necessarily be longing this high in premium, right? Especially not unfunded, right? Like on eval, maybe I'll take a long this high up, but unfunded, no, it doesn't really make sense when the drawn liquidity's already been hit for the day. But yeah, so we don't really look at YM avatar because YM doesn't really have any correlation to NQ and ES. So there's the fail for the 30-second. Really easily avoidable trade, right? We still have this low down here. Fahrenheit. Cattle has been pumping. I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? Options for cattle are going to go up as tariffs increase, right? Because farmers want to secure profits in the event of economic uncertainty, maybe? Or maybe the cost of cattle has risen, so futures has also risen because the future cost of cattle is going to increase because of tariffs. That's probably what it is. Because cattle is going to raise in price because we can't import cattle from other countries, it's going to raise the cost of cattle overall. So, like, if you're in 10 micros, you scale 5 at break even. No, I only scale at 1-to-1 risk to reward or greater, Flanagan. Like, I'd like to look for liquidity targets that are 1-to-1 away. So, let's say this 30-second setup didn't fail here, right? If the break even target is 1-to-1 away, I will scale, but let's say the hard stop here for this play is like 10 points, right? Because we expect to close below. So I couldn't scale here because that's only 7. That means that's only 0.7 RR. So first place I could scale for this trade would be this high here because that's 1-to-1. Does that make sense? Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yeah. All right, sounds good, Pip Captain. Am I in this trade? Well, there's no trade. Oh wait, are there some people in here that just see me put the P&L tool on the chart and they ask me if I'm in a trade every time it's there? Harish, is that why you asked? How much do you scale at 1-to-1? Usually half, 40% to half. Um, Oh no. So I said let's say I was in this, right? Like because this hadn't failed, but this 30-second trade actually failed, right? We got the close above and then the close below. So I said I wasn't taking it, and it was technically a losing play. It didn't fail in the 1 minute though. Oh, true. Yeah, it didn't fail in the 1 minute. Okay, fair point. Fair point. Maybe this setup is valid, but like I said, I don't care. I would have never taken it regardless on the 1 minute or the 30-second because we came so close to this low. Is YM not correlated with NQ? No, it's not. If you look up the weights, like if you look up NQ by weight or YM by weight, you'll notice that the way that they weight all the different stocks in the indice is completely different between the two um, indexes. So they don't have any correlation. Why wait for that low when it already swept another low? Because of how close we are, it just makes sense for price to come down here. You know, if we just souped this low, like down here or whatever it was, that was the 1 hour gap and got a V-shaped reaction, like that would be good. But the fact that we came down, you know, created a liquidity pool here, and then created another liquidity pool here, it just makes sense for both of these stops to get ran before heading higher. Because it's almost like the same idea as like equal highs and equal lows, right? It's just like it's basically having like a conflicting draw on liquidity whenever we have price come down and create like two swing points relatively close to each other. Flanagan, probably not anything to be honest. Like if it's a data high play, I don't scale anything. Like if you noticed yesterday on the OSFL setup on that trade, I didn't scale anything. Do you stop loss if a candle closed below the FG? Yes, Dave. Yeah, exactly, Seb. Yep. That 15-second to data eyes. I didn't even know we had a data candle this morning. What was data? 8:30. Oh, 8:30. Yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have taken that. What if we get a crazy price drop though? You should set a hard stop at like the swing low, Damo. So like, let's use this 30-second again. Okay, so price closes above here. In this trade, I anticipate price, like the stop loss on this to be like 10 points. But I have a hard stop set down here at this low. So like worst case scenario, I'm out an extra, I don't know. I don't know, what would that be? 10 points, 6 points, whatever it is. So you end up having to be in a situation where you've doubled your risk. But if you're trading like how you should be, waiting for bias, momentum, time, the odds of that happening, Damo, are like so low that your win rate makes up for any instance where that happens. Just the normal stop pip captain. Would you say that's LRLR on the 1 minute? To the upside? Kinda. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty algorithmic. That kind of lines up with that. Sure. Sure, Jujutsu. Now sweep lows and target LRLR. That would be the idea. So that 1 minute trade was probably a break even. I mean, you could have scaled at the high there inside the gap. So there's that low. So right now, price is still currently respecting lower time frame bearish PDRAs, which tells me that our delivery is still bearish. So I would like to see price honestly retrace all the way back to 50-year, but we'll see. It'll kind of probably depend on this 15-minute gap if we inverse this at 2, which we probably won't. We only have a minute and a half. Head and shoulders? Oh, hell yeah, brother. Oh, hell yeah, brother. Head and shoulders is just market maker model, by the way. It's literally like the exact same thing. All right, time to screenshot this. All right, let's see if Jujutsu's right. Have I ever looked at the footprint chart? Yeah, like once, but I don't know. I don't need it to be profitable. All right, guys. This is right when Jujutsu made his claims. Actually, it was like right here, I guess. All right, I'll just leave that there. I mean, I'm not gonna give him any flack if we don't inverse this 15 minute. Like, he definitely could be right. I'm just curious. Whenever somebody makes a claim like that, it's funny to see if it actually ends up happening. We have this 2 minute here. So Jiu-Jitsu really wants to see this 2 minute get inversed. What's up, Julian? Have you tried options in the last 15 minutes of the day? No, I don't really mess with that, Flanagan. That's more of a Fahrenheit thing. Dang, Flanagan. Okay. $221 before going back up. Okay, okay. Wait. Where the hell is True New York Open? Like 7? No, 8. 8 o'clock, right? I don't know, bro. Where does 221 align here? Are we saying 7:30? What's up, Carlos? Yeah, so no short setup form there for us, so we're just chilling. Hey, 100 people in the stream. Let's go. Oh, yeah, no, for sure, Eli. I'm chilling. The weight is off my shoulders. We're up like 6R this week. Tony, you bought um you bought PM stream for 10 accounts? Dang. What's going on, Isaac? Right? Customer. No. What's CSM stand for again? Customer Service Manager? Is that it? Yesterday and today, SPY options went from 0.515 to $12. Dang, what? That's crazy. But yeah, it's just slow grind down. I started the stream by saying that we probably wouldn't get anything today because we've already hit our target for the day. And so far, we still haven't gotten like even a short setup here to target 50%. So I'm just chilling right now. How do you measure range for previous day from midnight open or New York open? I just based it off the candle, the daily candles. So the range for previous day was here, just from this high to this low, and then you just there you go. So there was the low, there was the high. So I guess off of the 6 o'clock open. Oh, we're coming back up. Okay, okay. 15-second long printing? Yeah, I don't think I'm ever taking that, but cool. We still have that same 2-minute. Yeah, maybe. Maybe Baker. This would be like an eval trade for me if we got it. Obvious draw on the upside is kind of non-existent. Yeah, that's why I said, like, I think this is an eval trade. LRLR to the upside? Yep, we do have, like, kind of LRLR here. Okay, okay. I see the vision. You're in the 5-minute? Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Let's figure out, like, entry, stop loss, risk reward. That's what I'd probably do. Yeah, you got to include this 3-minute inception gap. Four minutes clean. Yeah, 4-minute is pretty clean. So basing it off the 2-minute time frame will be able to give us that 4-minute close also, I think. But yeah, the reason why I wouldn't jump in early here is because A, we're high in premium. B, we could still technically be delivering off of lower time frame PD arrays. And I don't know. C, I guess it just doesn't really make sense, like other than obviously the LRLR here as far as draw and liquidity goes. 2 minute short. This would be our first valid short setup. It would be like an A minus entry. But yeah, we'll see. Reason why it's A minus is because we're outside of the macro now, and we didn't get a liquidity sweep. You don't base your bias on higher time frame. I base it off of the lower time frame and the higher time frame. I had to consider both. Obviously, right now we're still technically respecting higher time frame bullish gaps, so I'm still higher time frame bullish. I would probably flip bearish if we inverse this 1 hour. But yeah, on the lower time frame, we're just respecting bearish PD arrays, so I'm bearish on the lower time frame until we start to disrespect bearish lower time frame gaps. So why would you take a short? Because you're playing the 50% retrace. That's the only reason why you would take a short, but I'm not going to take a short right now. What I'm watching is I'm just watching to see like if this 2 minute short triggers to get us deeper into discount here so that we can take a long after we've retraced. Does that make sense? Like all I'm doing is I'm just monitoring price here to see like what we're respecting and what we're disrespecting. So like if we were to use this 2 minute here and inverse this 2 minute, that gives me lower time frame bullish delivery paired with higher time frame bullish delivery, which then paired with this draw on liquidity being the LRLR here, which isn't the best LRLR. The LRLR we're looking for specifically is one that doesn't have roadblocks in the way, but here we have multiple fair value gaps that are in the way. So this isn't the greatest LRLR it could be. This is like B tier LRLR. And then obviously the last draw would kind of be that unfilled higher time frame liquidity. Do I care about CE on FEGs at all? Yeah, I do. I think that if CE holds, that like increases the probability of the FEG working, and if CE gets disrespected, then I think that increases the chances of it being inversed. I would just want CE of the range, like the 50% Flanagan at that point. What would you rate the 2 minute long? I think I gave it already the rating of like, what did I say? We're out of the macro, so probably A minus, right? We have bias. We have bad momentum, bad time. So subjectively, it's like probably also A minus. It's just an A minus trade all around. It's definitely an eval trade. You're high in premium. A minus, B plus, definitely. Yeah, B plus for sure. That's kind of where I'm going to land on because momentum is bad. We're outside of the macro, and yeah, we're in premium. 5 minute closed. Yep. Yeah, 5 minute been closed. So we got the 2-minute inverse there. I think it's an okay eval trade. It's pretty good risk reward. Did I say you have to include the 3-minute inception? Oh, we never got it. Okay, so yeah, you would just be basing it off of the entry here. Do we add the VI in for the FVG? I only include them if they're like a point or bigger, and this one's only like 2 ticks, so no, I wouldn't include the VI here. Are we taking this? Up to you. I'm not going to say anything about it. I think it's an eval trade, if anything. Well, Johnny, you got some evals to pass, so if you need to take an eval trade, this is an eval trade. You take it on everything, though? Yeah, don't take it on everything. I mean, I'm just gonna watch it play out because I think it'll be better to get a long from lower. But you know, if it works, it works. The only problem is now you're like also running into the trend line, I guess here. So, got to be careful with that. I just think what'll happen with this trade is like we might come up and hit this high inside the gap, and then I think like we might just reverse. I just don't love it because it's outside of the macro time. I'm finding like a lot more success by just waiting for like macro times. But yeah, I mean we've tapped into the hourly gap here. We have, um, you know, good momentum on the close specifically. Not really momentum into the close, but on the close it was decent. Singular gap, good break even target. So I mean, it's an eval trade. Yeah, Frosty, I wouldn't really be concerned about dumping further from this. I would just be concerned about like price getting choppy here because you know we've already hit our daily target. Like another problem with taking the entry here is you have to wait 30 minutes before the next macro. Like if you enter this trade at like 2:45, like I could see like you know being confident in the trade working out because we're coming into the macro. But here, like you're not gonna have the macro supporting you or helping push price to its intended target for another 30 minutes. So if this just starts chopping sideways, like I don't know what you'll do. It'll just be like really hard to sit through. Yeah, for PM, the macro times are, and I'll actually screenshot this and throw this into um, the text channel. If we wait through an FEG before we close through it, is it then not as strong as the orders resting there have already been filled? Um, you can like look at FEGs that way, right? But the way that I use it is essentially like this area in price was inefficiently traded, okay? So when we come back and fill it in, that's telling us that now price is efficiently traded. So the only reason why we should go through this gap is if the stronger inefficiency is above, okay? as long as this gap is filled in, then price should continue to go in its intended direction and go from inefficiency to inefficiency, which in most cases would be to the downside, right? If we fill in an inefficiency to the upside, then we should see an inefficiency to the downside or liquidity fill to the downside. So if we violate that now efficiently balanced, I guess, PD array, then that tells us that price really wants to go higher. Does that make sense, IB? Good question, though. Think we hit the equal highs? Maybe. We could go all the way for the 4-hour unfilled higher time frame gap. Johnny, you ever go to Niagara Falls? You ever go to Hard Rock? Like in Canada? I went there the last time I was in Niagara. I played on like blackjack, I think on the second level or something. Yeah, for sure, dude. It's like 5 hours from me, so probably won't be for a while, but yeah, for sure. I think Wesley hooked me up with some Hilton discounts, so maybe I'll stay at the Hilton there overlooking the falls. I still haven't used it yet, Wesley, but I'm guessing this summer we'll definitely use it. Bethan, it's so complicated though. Like I don't get it. I know like there's like the point, and you're basically just trying to avoid the seven, but like that's about it. So 2 minute has not failed yet, but obviously pretty horrible reaction there. And yeah, I mean it's okay. Like if you take this loss on eval, it's not a huge deal, but um, I just personally, didn't want to be in this or messing with this because it didn't fall into one of these macro times, right? That I don't really like to see price reverse at or get an entry in, right? Yeah, Flanagan. Yep. I mean, yesterday was incredible. The day before that was pretty good. Obviously, yesterday we had FOMC, so um, are the AM macros 950, 1050, 1150? I wouldn't really use 1150, but yeah, 950 and 1050. Because 1150 you're like logging into lunch, which you don't really want to be in trades during lunch. Normally I'll risk like 200 on a 50k avatar, but on an eval I'll probably risk like double that, so 400. Also, this 2 minute hasn't failed yet, so maybe there's a chance. What about 850? No, 850 is not really a macro time. Look at the 30-second. Ooh. I mean, yeah, we have a 30-second confirmation setup that just formed. We closed over it, so if you were feeling hesitant about the 2 minute, here's an opportunity for you. We left equal lows behind, though, so you're longing now with equal lows. And they're like on every time frame, and it's a devil's mark. Yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't take that. Does anybody have a Airbnb in New York City? like super niche. So price came back down here. Might come back for those equal lows. The new Pope is from Chicago. You probably know it. Dude, I don't know the new Pope. What? My great grandparents actually met the Pope of their time once when they went to Europe. I forget who it was. Do you know the dude Riz Andrew or something like this? His Discord server. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't. I'm not really tapped into the ICT Furu space like Dodgy is. See, Johnny, this is what I was worried about. I literally said before the trade that like I would just be worried about us getting sideways here because we're not in the macro time. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it hasn't failed yet. You just might be chopping it for another 20 minutes until the macro. Usually take trades only during macro. No. So we've kind of talked about this a couple times already, but bias, momentum, time, model, right? If we're missing that macro component, which is essentially time, if the momentum and the bias is really good because we have a super strong draw on liquidity and it looks like a really good, model play, good mechanical A plus play, I'll take that, right? But to me, the draw on liquidity here isn't that great. The momentum wasn't that great. We're outside, so like in this instance, probably not. We're high in premium. And yeah, I'd say it has a big significance on P&L, right? Subjective versus mechanical. You still pay monthly if you pass the eval on MFE? No, no, no. Once you pass, it's a lifetime funded. You just have to trade it. I think every once in a while, they might have a inactivity threshold or whatever. Is it once a week? Yeah, it's once a week. Thanks. Which we're all trading every single day, right? Thoughts on SF? What's SF? San Francisco? Is there a withdrawal limit on payouts? Yeah, it's 12K for MFFU for each payout. Nice jujitsu. W. I don't know. Like San Francisco sports, the city itself, the politics. What about San Francisco? I've never been, so I don't really know. The food, the geography. All right, let's see. Are we gonna get the break even? All right, we got the break even. So if you're in this, that's where I would go break even. And then first TP would be. I mean, you could technically first TP here. That's 1.5R. First TP, I guess, could be there. Next TP would be here. No. If you wanted to long your Harish, I wouldn't wait till like long, like later, right? There was a 5 minute entry down here and this 2 minutes, so you should have been in from here if you wanted to long. Longing here is just telling me that like you have FOMO now and you just want to find an excuse to get in because you missed the original entry. Not specifically you, just saying like that's the mentality that I would expect from somebody. Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the recurring cost is, Alex, but I know that first month is for sure 50% off. And then I know you can hold positions overnight. You just can't hold between 4:10 and 6 o'clock. And then you can trade the news on eval. I don't know about funded. So, like I said, I don't really care that 30 second. Actually, wait, that 30 second long failed. I don't really care that the 2 minute here worked because it didn't meet my criteria for the model. So it is what it is. It was an eval setup. I said that like 9 million times though. Can you do the CPI trick on? Yes, you can. Is this not good for higher probability setup? Yeah, it's okay. Guys, I'm gonna mess with Dachi. Can you hedge accounts in MFFU on evals? I don't know. Maybe. Does anybody know the answer to that? If you can hedge evals, like send one long, send one short. I don't think that's a very efficient way to pass the MFFU eval because there's a daily loss limit on it. Yeah, so I don't think you can. Bethan. So this is where I would do like second scale, and then probably, if you have a runner left, you could either scale at this high or scale at the 4 hour. Yeah, the CPI trick is basically that. So you can't hedge, but what you can do is you can do the limit order thing. You're gonna take TP at the 3 minute. That wait, what? At the BPR, you mean? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So Johnny's gonna take profit at 319. Nah, you're good. Yeah, if you do the second method, I think you can't do the first method where you hedge. So there would be like second TP for the eval. This is like 3R, so I'd probably just hold a runner here, but it's up to you. How many people took this play on eval? Okay. Well, good job, guys, I guess. What is up, Oksana? Nice, dude. Where is QQQ at? I need to see where my long terms are at. 491? Oh my god. Dude, I'm up $58 a share right now on QQQ. Damn. What the hell? Pip Captain, you could do that, but because the entry is so close to that 30-second gap there, and this is just an eval play, I probably wouldn't. Maybe I would do this on funded, but definitely not on eval. I'd probably just go break even at the high. Right? But yeah, I like that thought. Because, like, in most scenarios, I would do that for sure. Yeah, yeah. Like, the problem is, like, this is just, like, really choppy, like, not the greatest price action because the volume's kind of low right now. And so, like, I don't really have any expectations about price action overall, but the fact that we're getting this V-shaped reaction after sweeping this low coming out of the 1 hour, like, this is telling me that price is disrespecting bearish PD array. So I would kind of just anticipate this to be ran. Also, this gap was never tapped into, which tells me that this gap wasn't used to send price lower, so it doesn't really have as much significance. Maybe if there was like a high inside of this for value gap, like if this candle came up, that would be like a better break even. But because this gap didn't send price lower and it doesn't really have a whole lot of significance, like you can kind of just expect it to get ran through when you see price like with this much momentum V-shaping, you know. But yeah, that's just a weird one. Like, let me find an example of like a good 30-second. I guess like this 3-minute we could use that Johnny wants to take profit at, right? So this wick here, do you see how this gap on the 3-minute was used to send price lower? This would be an example of where you could like go to break even, right? If we have that high inside of a gap, because this gap is telling us that it's important. You know, we've sent price down using this gap, made lower lows, whereas this 30-second doesn't really have any significance, right? You closed? Awesome. Wait, that was 60 points? Oh, wait, no, I just can't do math. That was 36 points. Um, Marwin, if you took that unfunded, no. If you took it on eval, like, it's up to you. Just know, like, if you go to break even, like, after only being up 6 points or whatever, you're probably going to get break even. Yeah, on eval, guys, like, you can be a lot more lax with your break evens. Yeah, if you wanted to go break even after we made this new swing high and took it, then yeah, for sure. But like here, like I don't know. I would only I guess this 2 minute, right? This 2 minute we made a swing high. I don't know. It's up to you. It really is up to you. I probably would have waited for this high to get hit, but it's up to you. The only reason why you could go break even before hitting this high is because you have no confidence in us hitting this high. That's the only reason why you go to break even. Which if you have no confidence in us hitting this high, then why are you in the long to begin with? Like that's literally the only reason why. Because like if you think about it, this whole down move here on the 1 minute is like price putting in like bearish order flow, right? And leaving behind inefficiencies all the way down on this leg. And so when price comes back and taps into it, right, we can just represent this leg as like this 2 minute, and we don't get a bearish reaction from that instantly, and that's telling us, okay, that we're probably maybe looking for a reversal here. And so if you're going to break even at this 30-second high here, or this 30-second gap, then you're of the mindset that you entered in, like you took a long inside this like bearish leg, and then you have no faith in the bearish leg actually going up, so I'm going to break even here. Like you don't think like for some reason that the draw is higher than this high here or higher than the bearish leg. Right? Like that's like kind of the thought process behind going to break even there. Because like why would you enter this 2 minute if you didn't think we were gonna hit this high? That's kind of my thought. I don't know. Right? If we inverse a singular gap in a leg, we expect that inverse gap to take us to the next internal high, which is this high here, which is where you go to break even normally. Right, because that's the same thought process we have whenever we take like an inverse that has like multiple gaps in the leg and like you're running it up to that next gap. We're thinking like, okay, I don't know if that gap is going to break above, so I'm going to go break even there, and I don't have faith in the high getting hit. That's why I'm going to go break even. So that's kind of the same thought process here. Um, Bethan, normally I'd say like 400 or 500. It's kind of up to you. Yeah, Johnny, it wasn't really a signal, but you asked. You said you needed evals passed, so I said it's an eval play. What did I think of the 1 minute long at 9:41? That was my loss for the day. I think I gave my thoughts on it. I think at the beginning of the stream, and I said I didn't love it because 9:41 isn't a typical reversal time. Like here, like when do you see price reverse at 9:40? This kind of feels like you're longing the first inverse after a massive dump. And we still have like sell side down here, right? That could be potentially ran. And so you're just kind of longing against the bias in a non-typical reversal time. So you don't have bias on your side, you don't have the macro on your side, and the only reason why you're taking this is for momentum. So this is just like not a good trade overall, I think. Yeah, but delivery's still bearish, right? You can clearly see here we're respecting bearish PD arrays and disrespecting bullish ones. So you don't have bias on your side. You just have like a draw on liquidity that you like, essentially. Is 30 seconds short any good? No. Nah, this is choppy. We're in the macro, though, or we're coming into it. So maybe if we get this 5 minute short here, that would be okay. But what's our delivery? Yeah, we don't really have delivery here, so we'd just be basing it off the fact that we're inversing bearish PD arrays, and you're targeting a low that took out another low here, and we're delivering a higher time frame. So this just goes against the higher time frame bias right now. So I probably wouldn't short here. I'd probably just want price to tap into the 5 minute and head higher. Delivery from the SMT. Oh, do we have an SMT? We do. Okay. Yeah. So that I wouldn't say SMT is like used for delivery. SMT is more like identifying sweeps when there isn't one. Like for example, if for the model, let's say I'm looking for a liquidity sweep here and I'm on ES and price hasn't hit the high yet, but NQ has, I can use that SMT as like our liquidity sweep and I can add that into the model. So instead of saying, okay, we got our liquidity sweep here, singular gap, momentum, inverse, all that, I can just say, okay, we have the SMT. But yeah, no, delivery is solely based, I'd say, off of like what fair value gaps we're respecting and disrespecting in the moment. So here, when I'm looking, we don't really have any bearish gaps to the left here. Maybe this 30-second one, but that got inverse to the upside, so I can't even say that. So where we're rejecting from doesn't really make sense. There's no real bearish gap there. Maybe on the 10-minute time frame. Wow, wait, how did I snipe that? Okay, so we have a 10-minute bearish BPR here. We swept the high. Wait, why does this look textbook? Wait, why does this look textbook? Wait, why does the 10-minute look textbook right now? All right, guys, the 10-minute will close in 8.5 minutes, so. So yeah, I guess if you want to say we have delivery here from the 10-minute, sure. For the short, so we have delivery, we have the sweep, we have singular gap. What's our draw on liquidity? An internal low, not great. Not great for a draw on liquidity. That's the worst draw on liquidity in the market. I guess we have those equal lows, right? So we have equal lows. That's a little better. That's where we'd go break even at, right? We're in the macro. We have a little bit of momentum. So yeah, I mean, this is like an A setup, kinda. A minus. Yeah, we'll say it's like an A setup. There was a 10-minute, yep. There was 10-minute BPR for our delivery. If I alert this play and it loses, I'm just gonna be like, when have you ever seen me use a 10-minute BPR? Dude, people are gonna be coming at me in chat. They're gonna be like, "Did you see the 10-minute time frame? It's gonna be like the new 15-second." Okay, wow. Okay, this actually looks really good. This is an A confirmation setup. Well, never mind. Now it's A minus because I'm guessing the momentum is gonna suck since we're rejecting from it. All right, so there's the close over on the 1 minute. Momentum's actually not horrible. We got time. If this doesn't work, I'll kind of be surprised, to be honest. Do we have a 2-minute or something? No, we inverse the 2-minute. What's the risk reward to the high? It's 1-to-1 to the high. I guess if this fails, it's just because we have the 10-minute BPR that we're rejecting from. Am I in? No, I'm not in. So yeah, the reason why I'm not in, guys, is because the draw on liquidity here is just not very good. Side-by-side equal highs aren't that convincing to me. We ran all the LRLR now, so before when this was a good draw on liquidity to target, now it's like gone. And then obviously, you know, you're longing super high in premium. That's the other thing too. I guess that's why this could fail. Oof, that's not a good reaction. Is my sell side draw 50%? Yeah, probably. So we can watch the 5 minute now, I guess. I hate taking trades right at 3 o'clock because 3 o'clock tends to be kind of manipulated. What would be cool here, I think, maybe, is if we came down and got like a long from the like the low here. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I can dream. Um, did we get an SMT at the low there? Nope. Made equal lows actually. All right, one more minute until this 5 minute candle closes, and then I guess that'll tell us the bias. Guys, I hired somebody to come cut our lawn like 3 days ago, and because of all the rain and whatever here, they were supposed to come over on Wednesday to cut it, and now it's like probably going to be Friday when they come and cut it, and it's so long. It's embarrassing how long our lawn is. All right, so no. Did we get it? We close to the tick maybe. Nah, we didn't get the close below, so no close below there. Did the 10 minute close below? Ooh, the 10 minute close below. All right, if you guys saw this on the 1 minute time frame when you take it, I mean, it looks like a pretty textbook short, right? Wow. Okay. Well. All right. Well, if you're in from the 10 minute, I guess your first scale is going to be at the equal lows here that we just tapped into. Oh wait, nope, we didn't get him yet. I thought we did. But yeah, so for those of you that are new here, we don't really ever talk about the 10-minute time frame, but if you think about time as like this concept that is fractal, right? Where all things occur across multiple time frames, the higher time frame, the lower time frame, the micro charts, like the microseconds chart or whatever, milliseconds chart, sorry. All of these concepts that we talked about occur on all those different time frames. So if you look at the 10-minute, we see this, now you understand why. Yeah, Fahrenheit. If we go down to like the 1 second chart here, we get market maker models on the 1 second time frame. But yeah, the reason why we use the 1, the 2, the 3, the 5, the 15, the 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily is because those time frames usually overlap with a lot of other existing time frames. If we were to use the 10-minute, the only time frames that would overlap, I guess, would be like the 2, the 5, the 30-minute, and the hourly. We have an SMT at the low here. Bullish V-shaped reaction on the 1 minute. Wow, this is some crazy good momentum. Long off an SMT sweep. What's our delivery? We don't really have delivery. I mean, I feel like this should work, right? I don't know. Delivery is the 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's higher time frame delivery. I just want to see if we get anything at the lower time frame, but I guess the problem with this long is obviously the equal lows, right? You're long with relative equal lows there and equal lows, so kind of longing with a what's it called? Conflicting draw. This is like another pattern trade, right? It might work, it might not. The first pattern trade lost, the second pattern trade might win, who knows? But yeah, not really a whole lot to say. Obviously, today, we came into the market with the expectation we probably weren't going to get a whole lot because we hit the daily target, and I kind of feel that's been the overall theme, other than like I guess the 2 minute that one, just a whole lot of nothing today. And yeah, go, Steve. That's exactly what I was thinking, right? That's why I said like I wouldn't take longs up here in premium. I'd probably want to wait for a retrace the discount before trying to take anything unfunded or anything. Sorry, did I say Steve? I meant Scott. I think Steve. I think Steve because Breaking Bad. You know, Steve Gomez or whatever. Bearish SMT 1 minute short. I mean, Guys, this is just so chop. Let's see if we get the 1 minute close below. Ooh, we didn't. So no 1 minute close below there. Because we got another SMT actually off the low. ES came down and swiped it again. Oh, we might get it anyway. Yeah, the 3 minute here is like okay. Like I said, you know, we're just no man's land right now because you're shorting against the bias. There's not really any good draws in liquidity anywhere other than the equal lows. So it's just kind of no man's land. We're inversing PD race to the upside, to the downside, sideways, all over the place. So, do we have PM tomorrow? Yes, we do. So PM is live tomorrow. For those of you that are new, every other Friday we take off, so next Friday will be our off day. You guys will get an early weekend. Usually PM sessions on Fridays aren't the best. So I like to give you guys an early weekend and yeah. So yeah, it's just really bad choppy PA. We're outside of the macro again, so that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so CAD, there's a couple ways you can do that. The first way is just like looking at the candles themselves. If the wicks of the candles are bigger than the bodies, that's one way. And then if you look while the candles are forming, like if you have live data, you can usually tell like when the candles are super energetic. That's usually when we get the best momentum. Whenever they're just like stalling, you know, for multiple seconds in the same price, that's usually like not really good momentum. And then another way that you can look at it like numerically is if you look at a single swing, like for example, this swing high down to this swing low, and you measure it, okay, so in this example here, this is about, I don't know, just around 30 points, okay? If in that swing we moved at a rate of 5 points per minute, that's usually good momentum. So like in this example here, our swing is here down to here. That's 30 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles. That's like 4 points per minute. So it's like not the best momentum, right? Usually really good momentum is like 10, 20 points per minute. That's like, oh wow, light bulb type momentum, right? But yeah, right now, guys, we're just super uncorrelated. ES is making lower lows. NQ is like really, really not liking the idea of going down and hitting these equal lows. So um, when price is uncorrelated like this and the two indices aren't seeing eye to eye, that's a sign that price is just not the greatest. Would you say that Thursday and Friday after FOMC is low probability, like the Monday and Wednesday before FOMC? No, I wouldn't say that. It's just today we've already taken our daily target out, so PM is usually going to lead to chop, right? When we get big expansion, what usually follows expansion? Consolidation, right? If we'd gotten a big move in London before New York, what's going to happen in New York usually? Probably chop, right? So that's kind of what's happening right now to us in PM. We're just getting chopped to bits. Yeah, I just chased a long Fahrenheit. That's about it. All right, Arish. See you tomorrow. Thank you for stopping by. So we left equal highs there. Obviously, me, Fahrenheit. I'm the one with the gambling problem. Bruh. Why is this being so difficult? We got 315 here in a second. Yeah, for sure, Avatar. That would be the case for any session, not just PM. Want to wait for those macro times. So we got the next 15-minute candle close here. Not really a whole lot to say about it. Bruh. So yeah, this is just what happens whenever we have conflicting draws. Like right now we have the equal highs and the equal lows. So price just can't figure out what direction it wants to go in. All right, we took out those equal highs now. Why do some people say macro is first 15 and last 15, and others say 10? Good question. I'm not really sure why. Um, I think I've always just been taught it's the last 10. I mean, I know why the macro times exist themselves, but I'm not sure why somebody would include the 15 minutes before, not the 10 minutes, not just the 10. Yeah, it's the out of options indicator. I'll share a link for it. Here, let me. It's this one. What's the purpose of the macro? Yeah, so basically the macro is a time when like a lot of different time frame closures all occur at the same time, all right? So like the 15-minute candle closes, the hourly candle, sometimes the 4-hour candle, the 30-minute, the 5, the 4, the 2, the 3, the 1, right? All of these candles close at the same time, and what that does is it creates an injection of volatility because there's some traders that trade the market based on time and time alone. And so when you have that extra injection of volatility, that allows the algo to operate in a way that just sends price to its intended target with all that extra volume and volatility, right? You can also think about it like power of three as well on like the hourly time frame. We made two sets of equal lows now. This is just so bad. Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, Eli. Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow. Oh wow! Would you look at that? We finally get something, and it's in the wrong direction. Wow. Me, Frosty. I did. I took that. Who took that? Let's go. This is so stupid. Wow. Okay, okay. So maybe we'll finally go take out the equal highs here. This pump was literally off nothing, by the way. That's so funny. I think so, Marwin, but Price doesn't seem to think so. Maybe the 2 minute short here. Short this to 764, 15-minute equal lows. Dude, what? Nowhere, Bethan. Anyone in any trades so far? Nah, I'm just chilling. I mean, we could watch this 2 minute to see if it works. But yeah, I'm probably not going to take anything for this session. Is it the same difficulty level to be profitable trading PM only compared to trading AM only? Nah, it's about the same, I'd say. If you're funded account, if you made more than the 750, 30%, what's better, to lose some on purpose or just keep trading consistent? I'd say just keep trading. I mean, it depends how much more you made, but yeah, because I'm assuming you're saying 30% because Apex. With trailing drawdown, it's not worth it to lose. Especially when you can just get like a bigger payout instead of just taking the minimum. Yeah, nah, I would just keep it pushing. Business as usual. 2 minute isn't good. Nothing's really good right now, just because we're chopping. I mean, I kind of want to see what 330 does here, but if we don't get really a reaction on a 330, I'm probably going to boot up Wordle, and then if nothing happens for like 10 minutes, I'll probably just end stream. So yeah, no reaction from 330. Yeah, I'm booting up Wordle. All right, I need help. I did not see the answer this morning, so Adept no E. Nothing. We could try like watch. Oh, the 10-minute closed above. Ooh. All right, well that's our trigger, I guess, to go to the highs. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I was gonna say like Daisy or Daunt, but there's no T. There's no S. It's like mangy. Is this a word? Okay. So it's probably MY. It's not whammy. Could be jammy. Okay. Kind of selling. A. Maybe it's balmy. Is that a word? All right, balmy it is. Hoorah. And we've missed nothing. Frosty, you asked me how come I never went into streaming. What do you mean? Oh, I did stream. Just like I had like a small community. I think we had like maybe 50 viewers at one point, and then whenever I would stream the like invitational events that I was in, or like the finals or whatever, like those, I would get a decent amount of viewers during that. The most amount of people I had watching me at once in my stream was like 1,800, but I had like people also spectating me that had like that were doing like viewer watch parties, and there was like 30,000 people watching me because I was the only streamer for like one specific game that they were trying to watch. Fahrenheit, no, probably not. Nah, Marwin. AM is all dodgies, so maybe one day if Dodgy decides to like stop doing streams or whatever, I'll do it, but probably not. Why don't I do a separate Discord server? Because I don't know, I like this Discord server. Also, I don't think it would be. I don't think Dodgy would love it if I started my own Discord server, right? Nah, trust me, I have a pretty good situation. I like it, so I don't know. Um, I'd say like 6 months. 6 months is like profitable for sure. And then I would say like if you can cover your living expenses, then you're profitable. Like and can probably live on whatever you're making from trading. All right, so we got the 2 minute inverse there. Um, I think this is like negative risk to reward to the break even, or not to the break even, but to like the TP. Yeah, so this is like 0.5 R to those equal lows, which is all I would expect. And then maybe you target like the session low there because I believe we took out the hourly candle high. So yeah, we definitely could go for this hourly candle low here. I think this is okay. I think this is okay. The only bad part is we don't have delivery here, but we have the sweep of the previous hourly candle high, and we have equal lows below as the draw. So maybe this is just like a break-even trade. But yeah, I'm done. Yeah, just wait like another 3 months. What I did, President, when I went full time, is I made sure that I had enough to cover 6 months of expenses, right? It's basically an emergency fund that I created. And then once I had that set, I was ready to go full time. Rate this PA like C. We're forming for value gaps, but we're not really expanding anywhere. We don't have bearish delivery right now. Oh, wait, we do on the 3 minute. I lied. My apologies. Yeah, so we're delivering from this 3 minute gap. You're right. So sweep, delivery, good momentum, singular gap. I mean, this looks okay. This is the first trade I kind of feel like good about. Like, I don't see how this fails other than just like bad price conditions because we have equal lows below. And then you just target the hourly candle low. I mean, I guess I'll take this. Why not? It's on eval, so I'll just take this on eval and see if it works. I mean, it's the model, right? We don't have necessarily the macro time, right? But I mean, it's 315 to 345. We have equal lows below, so I don't really see how this doesn't work. I'm gonna go break even once we hit the equal lows here. Good momentum too, like. If I have to guess, I'm probably gonna get break even on this. Maybe it loses, right? But I feel like this is just a break even trade. And maybe I get lucky and we run the hourly candle low. Alright, so yeah, I guess I'd probably still wait to go break even. I guess the equal lows here. Just barely missed them. Alright, so I'm break even there. And then I'm just going to hold till the... I guess is this 1-to-1 away? This low inside the fair value gap? It's almost 1-to-1. You could probably scale half at this low inside the FEG. And then take profit at the hourly candle low there. Did anybody take this? You guys all heard me say I was getting in, right? So yeah, scale half here and then second scale at the low here. And then once this hits, I'm just going to get off stream. And if it goes break even, I'm probably just going to get off stream. The only reason why I liked this, guys, was because I noticed the delivery. When I saw that, that's what like gave me the light bulb. And I figured we would run those equal lows. Why did 254 fail? 254. I don't know. You mean this long? Because we were delivering from the 10-minute BPR. We swept the high and rejected off the 10-minute BPR. I don't know why this failed. I think it's just because like you're longing in premium. But yeah, I really don't know why that would have failed. So we might get an SMT with ES here at the low, but I still think we'll go hit it. This is why I'm going to scale half here too, is because ES is going to hit this low at the same time, I think. So scale half, scale half. All right, I'm scaled half there, and then I would just scale the other half at the low here. Bang, let's go. Oops. Yeah, Frosty, this was a good one. I think if you hadn't mentioned or I forget who mentioned the delivery, but if that person hadn't mentioned the delivery, I wouldn't have taken it. Let's see, Frosty, if you're in your, or not Frosty, sorry, Stalker, if you're in here, if we get both sides of the hourly candle. The previous hourly candle. I really hope that would be cool. Get full TP. All right, I'm all out there. Boom, let's go. Nah, I took this on eval. But yeah, overall, let's split the difference here. So yeah, overall in this trade, if you scaled half of that first target, scaled half of that second, you made like 1.2 R. On this trade, I took it with 5 micros. So I scaled 3 years, scaled 2 there. I think so, Seb. I don't know. Maybe ask support that question. I don't know. Yeah, Stalker, we came up, took the one side of the hourly high, and then we got this inverse to the downside. I was like, oh shit, okay. Maybe we'll take the Stalker Classic here. And it worked. All right, guys. Well, I don't think there's going to be anything else for today, so I'm going to end here. I think that's a good place to end. What do you guys think? Alrighty. Well, I will catch all of you tomorrow for our last PM of the week, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace out, everyone.